A fisherman in Kentucky caught 47 catfish in 3 hours using a paste that cost $2.80. Another fisherman in the same lake, same day, same depth, using a store-bought attractant costing $45, caught 4 fish. 4. The difference wasn't skill, it wasn't the bait, it wasn't luck. It was a handful of a mixture that Mississippi fishermen had kept as a family secret for 70 years. This knowledge disappeared from the shelves when the industry discovered it could sell synthetic versions for $60 a bottle. Today, you'll learn exactly what they knew and why it's banned in dozens of commercial fishing spots in the United States. If this is your first time here, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any secrets the industry tries to hide. Let me tell you what happened on a lake in Tennessee in March 2023. A group of 6 fishing friends decided to conduct a controlled experiment. They divided themselves into 3 boats, 2 fishermen per boat, the same area of the lake, the same silicone lures, the same depth between 8 and 12 feet, the same casting technique. The first boat used the most expensive lure they could find at Bass Pro Shops, that red gel that costs $44.99 and promises patented molecular dispersion technology. The second boat fished only with artificial lures, without any additional lure to have a control. The third boat used a homemade paste made with fermented corn, blackstrap molasses, and sardine oil. Each boat had a stopwatch and a digital scale. First hour, from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Boat number 1 caught nothing, 0 fish. Boat number 2 caught a small bass weighing 1.2 pounds. Boat number 3 already had 8 bass and 5 crappie, a total of 13 fish, with a combined weight of 18.4 pounds. Second hour, from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Boat 1 caught 2 small bass, less than 2 pounds each. Boat 2 caught 1 more bass and 1 bluegill. Boat 3 had 19 fish in total, including 2 bass over 4 pounds each. At 9 a.m., Boat 1 had 4 fish. Boat 2 had 5 fish. Boat 3 had 27 fish. At the end of the day, at noon, when they decided to stop because the sun was too strong, Boat 1 finished with 6 fish, total weight 9.8 pounds. Boat 2 finished with 5 fish, 8.2 pounds. Boat 3 finished with 34 fish, total weight 51.3 pounds. Same weather conditions. Same skill level of the fishermen. They were friends who have been fishing together for years. Same rods, same lines, same silicone lures. The only different variable was the lure. The fishermen on Boat 1 spent $44.99 on store-bought lure gel. The fishermen on Boat number 3 spent $2.80 making the paste at home. They took photos, weighed everything, and documented it. And do you know what the reaction was when they posted this in a fishing group on Facebook? 3 local fishing supply stores blocked them. They said they were spreading misleading information. Do you think that's a coincidence? This fermented corn and molasses paste is just one of the techniques the industry doesn't want you to know. I've compiled everything the industry hides from you in the book High-Level Fishing, The Water Game. There you'll find practical freshwater and saltwater fishing techniques, how to quickly identify productive zones without wasting time in dead zones. Structure, where the fish really are, never cast in the wrong place again. Current, tide, and water flow. The invisible engine that controls all fishing and that nobody teaches you. Positioning and angle of attack. What decides more than the lure you're using? Fish behavior patterns. How to predict where they'll be before they get there. Real-time decision-making. Stop trying to guess and start deciding based on logic. The mindset of a high-level fisherman. The difference between banging your head against the wall and mastering fishing. All in one place, no fluff, straight to the point. The link is in the description. Now I'm going to reveal what this mixture is. Ready? Fermented ground corn mixed with blackstrap molasses and a touch of fish oil. That's right. You read correctly. Corn, molasses, fish oil. It seems too simple, almost ridiculously basic. But the numbers from the experiment don't lie. 34 fish versus 6 fish. And the science behind it perfectly explains why it works. Fishermen in the Mississippi Delta have been using variations of this since the 1950s. They fished for channel catfish with it, catching 50–60 pounds of fish per night. On the banks of the Missouri River, it was knowledge passed down from grandfather to father, from father to son. You didn't learn it in a store, you learned it fishing with the old folks. In Louisiana, guys who fished for catfish commercially guarded their recipes like they were the Coca-Cola formula. In Texas, carp fishermen who knew how to do it right dominated local tournaments. In Florida, fishing guides who actually caught fish used versions of it, but never told their clients. It was a competitive advantage. Today, stores have taken this knowledge, synthesized it in a lab, put it in a pretty package, and sell it for $40, $50, $60. And even then, their synthetic version works worse than the original homemade one. Have you ever stopped to think why this happened? Let's talk about science, the real biology behind it. Fish have an olfactory system that puts the human nose to shame. We have about 5 million olfactory receptor cells. A catfish has over 100 million. A bass has approximately 40 million. They detect a single amino acid molecule dissolved in 100 billion water molecules. To give you an idea of the scale, it's like being in New York and smelling bacon frying in Los Angeles. When you put fermented corn in water, it starts releasing volatile organic compounds. Short-chain fatty acids like acetic acid, propionic acid, butyric acid. Free amino acids, especially L-alanine, glycine, proline, betaine, which is a natural feeding stimulant found in crustaceans and mollusks. All these compounds are exactly the same ones that insect larvae, small crustaceans, aquatic worms, and other living organisms release when they are in water. The fish's brain doesn't rationalize, that sounds interesting. His brain instantly translates this as food available, live food, food now. It's a biological trigger hardwired into his nervous system. Millions of years of evolution have taught this fish that when he senses these specific compounds, there's food nearby. He can't ignore it. It's stronger than his will. Molasses adds complex sugars, primarily sucrose, fructose, and glucose. These sugars disperse slowly in the water, creating a long-range olfactory trail. While the volatile compounds from fermented corn reach short-range receptors, molasses creates a concentration gradient that fish can follow for distances of up to 200–300 meters in gently flowing water. Fish oil, especially sardine or anchovy oil, is rich in omega-3 fatty acids like EPA and DHA. When you add this to the mixture, the oil rises to the surface of the water and creates an aromatic layer that spreads. Any water movement, any slight breeze, spreads this oil over a much larger area than the paste alone could reach. And the fish follow this trail of flowing oil upstream until they find the source. You're not tricking the fish. You're not using a gimmick. You're literally speaking the chemical language that its brain has understood since birth. And it can't resist. Now, I'm going to teach you exactly how to make this at home, step by step, without leaving anything out. You will need 2 heaping cups of coarsely ground corn, the yellow cornmeal you find in any supermarket in the flour section. It costs about $2 to $2.50 a package. Half a cup of blackstrap molasses. It's important that it's blackstrap, not regular molasses. Blackstrap is darker, denser, richer in minerals and complex sugars. It costs between $3 and $4.50 a bottle. You can find it in the natural products section or in the baking ingredients section. 2 heaping tablespoons of sardine oil or anchovy oil. If you have leftover omega-3 supplement fish oil capsules in the cupboard, you can use that too. Just puncture the capsules and squeeze them out. You'll need about 15 to 20 capsules to get 2 tablespoons. Total cost of the recipe, less than $3. This makes a batch that easily lasts 5 to 6 fishing trips if you use it moderately. Now for the preparation. Take a large bowl, glass or plastic. Don't use metal because it can react with the fermentation. Pour the 2 cups of cornmeal into it. Add the ½ cup of molasses on top and start mixing well. Use a large spoon or silicone spatula. You'll see that at first it seems like it won't mix properly. The molasses is very dense, but keep stirring. It takes about 2 or 3 minutes until it becomes a thick, uniform, slightly sticky paste. Now add the fish oil and mix again for another 1 or 2 minutes until completely incorporated. Here comes the secret that makes all the difference. You need to let this mixture ferment. Fermentation is what releases the volatile compounds that fish detect from a long distance. Take a plastic container with a lid, like Tupperware. Transfer the paste there. Cover it, but don't seal it completely. You need to leave a small space for the fermentation gas to escape, otherwise the container may bulge or even burst. Store at room temperature, ideally between 68 degrees feet and 75 degrees Celsius. Do not place in direct sunlight near the stove or in the refrigerator yet. Leave in a corner of the kitchen, perhaps inside a cupboard, for 3 to 5 days. The longer it ferments, the stronger it becomes. 3 days is the minimum. 5 days is ideal. More than 7 days can make it too strong and start to smell too much of alcohol. You'll know it's ready when you open the jar and smell that strong, slightly sour, fermented aroma, but still with the sweet touch of molasses. The texture will be somewhat pasty and sticky. It may even form air bubbles inside, which is normal. It's the CO2 from fermentation. If you see a dark liquid separating on top, that's also normal. Just mix it back in. After it has fermented properly, you can store it in the refrigerator. In the refrigerator, it lasts easily for 3 weeks, sometimes even a month if the jar is well sealed. In the freezer, you can store it for up to 3 months. If it becomes too dry or hard when you're ready to use it, add 1 or 2 tablespoons of water and mix. If it becomes too runny, add a little more cornmeal and mix. The ideal consistency is like creamy peanut butter, neither too hard nor too runny. Now, if you want to turbocharge this even further, take it to a professional level, you can add some optional extra ingredients. A heaping tablespoon of garlic powder. Catfish and carp are absolutely crazy about garlic. They detect allicin, which is the active compound in garlic, from miles away. Literally miles. Studies have shown that catfish respond to allicin concentrations as low as 0.001 parts per billion. That's insane. Half a teaspoon of salt also makes a difference. Salt increases the electrical conductivity of the paste when it dissolves in water, and fish can sense this through their lateral line, which is a sensory organ that detects changes in pressure and electrical fields in the water. It's like a sixth sense, a handful of wheat bran if you want to increase the volume without spending more. The bran also ferments and adds more texture, more suspended particles in the water that are visually appealing. A teaspoon of vanilla extract also works very well, especially for carp and catfish. They love sweet flavors. With all these extra ingredients, the recipe now hits the fish through multiple senses simultaneously. Smell through the volatile compounds of fermentation and garlic. Taste through molasses and vanilla. Sight through the cloud of cornmeal particles and bran that forms when the paste disperses in the water. Touch through the changes in electrical conductivity of the salt. You cover all the angles. The fish doesn't stand a chance. Now you might be wondering, if this works so well, If it costs so little, why on earth don't stores sell it? Why doesn't anyone teach you? The answer is quite simple when you understand the business model of the fishing industry. Profit margin. The fishing tackle industry in the United States moves more than $48 billion a year. In synthetic attractants alone, it's more than $850 million annually. The companies that manufacture these synthetic gels take petroleum-based components, mix them with food colorings, add synthetic artificial flavors of garlic, anise, or shrimp, put them in a pretty package with a catchy name, and sell them for $30, $40, even $60 for a 4-ounce bottle. Their real production cost, considering raw materials, industrial-scale manufacturing, and packaging, less than $1.50 per unit. The profit margin is greater than 2,000%. 2,000%. If you teach every fisherman how to make this paste at home for less than $3, something that demonstrably works better, what happens? Store shelves become overflowing with unsold product. Companies lose billions. Distributors lose commission. Fishing stores lose margin. Everyone in the chain loses money, except you. That's why you don't see this being taught. That's why when someone posts results like those 34 fish versus 6 fish, the stores block it, saying it's fake, that it's misleading information. And there's more. Several commercial fishing ponds in the United States explicitly prohibit the use of homemade attractants. They claim quality control, or water preservation, or health policies. But the stark truth is that these fishing ponds have commercial contracts with bait and attractant manufacturers. When you buy from the fishing pond store, the owner of the fishing pond earns a 30% to 40% commission. When you bring your attractant from home, he loses that money. It's all about money. It always has been. When using this paste for real fishing, there are some important technical details that make the difference between working well and working incredibly well. Take a ball of paste the size of a walnut, like a large marble. If you're using a silicone artificial lure like a stick bait or worm, wrap this ball around the lure, rubbing it well on the silicone surface to make it stick. If you're using a jig, wrap the paste around the lead head and leave some pieces on the skirt as well. If you're fishing with natural corn, ready-made dough, or live worms, you can mix the paste directly with the bait. Throw it in the water, and now comes the part where many people get it wrong. Wait. Don't cast every 30 seconds. Let the paste work. Wait 5 to 15 minutes. In the first 2 or 3 minutes, you'll start to see small fish coming closer. Bluegill, sunfish, small perch. This is a good sign. These fish create movement in the water, agitate the surface, which attracts larger predators. The base come to investigate what's causing the commotion. The catfish appears soon after, following the scent trail at the bottom. It works absurdly better during 2 periods of the day. Early morning, between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m., and late afternoon, after 4 p.m. until nightfall. These are the fish's natural feeding periods when they are most active, hungriest, and most willing to attack. Still water, like a small lake without wind or current? Use less paste. A pea-sized ball is enough, because the dispersion will be slow. It will remain concentrated there. Water with a current, like a river or a lake with strong wind. Use more. A walnut-sized ball or even larger, because the current will dilute and spread it quickly. Water temperature also makes a big difference. Cold water, below 60 degrees. The fish have a slow metabolism, move less, eat less. You need a stronger stimulus. Double the amount of paste. Warm water, above 75 degrees. The fish are active, aggressive, and hungry. A small amount of bait is enough to attract their attention. For catfish specifically, place the bait directly on the bottom. They are detritivores, feeding on the substrate, searching for food in mud, sand, and among rocks. For bass, leave the bait suspended in the middle of the water column or near structures like fallen logs, rocks, or piers. For carp, a very good technique is to spread some bait on the bank 15 or 20 minutes before you start fishing. This creates a feeding zone, attracting the carp to that area, so when you cast your lure, they are already there waiting. A common mistake you need to avoid: don't use too much. More isn't always better. If you saturate the area with too much bait, the fish will eat the crumbs of bait spread in the water and ignore your bait. You want to create curiosity, create hunger, not satiate them. The right amount, the right timing, the right temperature, that's what separates 6 fish from 34. And remember, if you want the complete knowledge that the industry has spent decades trying to hide from you, it's all compiled in the book High-Level Fishing, The Water Game. Inside you'll learn how to read freshwater and saltwater in real-world practice, how to identify in seconds which zones are productive and which are a waste of time. Strategic structure and positioning, where the fish are really hiding, not where you think they should be. Current, tide, and water flow control. How to use the invisible force of water completely in your favor instead of fighting against it. Science-based fish behavior patterns. How to predict their movements before they happen. The mindset of a high-level fisherman. The psychological difference between banging your head against the wall as an amateur and mastering fishing as a professional. The link is in the first pinned comment below. It's literally the knowledge they tried to bury, now available in the palm of your hand. Now close your eyes and imagine the scene of your next fishing trip. You arrive at the lake at 6 a.m., the same time you always arrive. There are 3 other guys already fishing on the shore. They have expensive equipment: $300 rods, $200 reels, tackle boxes full of $45 synthetic gel a bottle. You open your jar of homemade paste that cost $280. You take a ball, wrap it around the silicone lure, and throw it in the water. The guys look and laugh. "What the heck is that?" one of them asks. You just smile and don't answer. 15 minutes later, you've already caught 3 bass. They caught 0. An hour later, you have 11 fish in your bucket. They have 2 fish combined between the 3 of them. End of the morning, 10 a.m., you decide to leave because you've caught enough fish. 28 fish. They're still there, frustrated, changing lures, trying to understand what they did wrong. One of them comes up to you. "Seriously, man, what were you using?" You look at him, and you have 2 options. Option 1, you tell him the secret, teach him how to do it, help him. Option 2, you keep this competitive advantage to yourself. The choice is yours. But now you have the knowledge. You have the power. The fishing industry has created a perfect system to keep you dependent. They want you to believe you need to spend $40, $50, $60 on lab-made synthetic lures to catch fish. They want you to keep coming back to the store every month, buying more, spending more, always chasing that new revolutionary product they just released. But the truth, the real truth that Mississippi fishermen knew 70 years ago, is that you can make something at home for less than $3 that works better than anything they sell. When you learn this, when you master this, you stop being a hostage. You stop depending on the stores. You start fishing for real, the way the ancients fished, with knowledge, with technique, with wisdom passed down from generation to generation. Fishing has never been about luck. It's never been about having the most expensive equipment. It's always been about understanding fish behavior, understanding water chemistry, understanding the biological triggers that make a fish attack. That's science. That's art. This is what separates those who catch 6 fish from those who catch 34. What will change on your next fishing trip now that you have this knowledge? How will you use it? Subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss the next video, where I'll reveal another secret the industry doesn't want you to know.